I don't know if you have the experience of sort of converting someone who's just, I lack of a better word, stubborn, in the sense that like in the management layer, if someone doesn't have open source experience, I assume you can't just tell them that, hey, go contribute for a month and then come back. If you can't do that, or should we? I mean, but if you can't do that, like what can be the ways to help someone understand what open source is without ever participating?
And I mean, if you look at the thousands of engineers in our companies, right, only a very small fraction really would be maintainers or consistent contributors. Majority are consumers, passive consumers at best. And so most engineers never have to deal with it. And so they kind of say, is this open source person getting these special privileges of being able to go to conferences or work from home or, all these other things? And you've got to be able to explain that in a rational way so it doesn't look like we're creating a special class of, privileges for those folks. It really helps to have other PEs or senior engineers who, say, a manager or a general manager trusts, and to hear from them of what this means and why this is significant is helpful. So the more trusted people you have in a company that can say, this is why we have to do this, and this is how we're doing it. It helps. It cannot be just the OSPO going out there and evangelizing. We need distinguished engineers and principal engineers and managers who get it, communicate to the rest of the company that this is the value of the work we do.
Do you find that it's been helpful with, I find that Log4j, as an example, really kind of shined a light for a lot of companies on the software supply chain, which is open source, as we've all discovered, and getting a handle on the management of that supply chain, because it really hasn't been a thought process. There are risks involved, and I think that's clearly been identified and acknowledged from a lot of companies. But it also means that having that context and having that contact with that supplier, the open source community, is also something that becomes critical to companies. Have you found that to be helpful in your argumentation to other managers as to why having people invested in this space is actually a strong benefit to your supply chain?
The short answer is absolutely yes. I think every time we've had one of these incidents happen, it acts as a forcing function to pay attention to the fact that we need to care for this, in a more thoughtful and proactive way. So whether it's all of these security incidents that have happened, or executive orders and regulations, or even missteps that companies may have had, there's a history of, you've got to go back and say, we had this misstep because we had not prepared this relationship correctly, or we had not assessed this relationship correctly. And so I think, was it Churchill who said, don't let a disaster go unused, or yes, something like that. I think a lot of these incidents have helped put more attention and educated more people inside the company on what we need to do, what's the correct thing to do. Otherwise, I think, open source just gets taken for granted. It's going to just run smoothly. When it happens, it happens. But incidents are the things that have really elevated the need for more open source work and investment in companies.